it felt like stuff was leaving our house. It's kind of weird feeling, like the presence of something was leaving. And stuff like that happened a few times. Whenever we had like an issue going on, you called her, declared it in Jesus' name that his foot would be healed. About 15 minutes later, he came back over after the line started up and we were working. He's like, dude.
What kind of advice would you give to somebody wanting to start off at any level of this process?
I'll say some of the easier things to grow if you're just starting. And our kids running around in the background doing cartwheels and farting while we're videoing. That stuff happens all the time. You never know what's going to happen when you post something on social media. And then I had a guy come in. He said, you need to take every piece of plaster out of this house. I ran into my corn trying to spook out whatever it was so I could just totally light it up. And I jumped in there. And when I landed, I looked around with a flashlight all around me. Like I jumped into the middle of a whole family of.
Oh, no. Hey, this is Matt with the Charting Life Podcast. Before we get into the show, I just want to make a quick announcement. I'm wanting to experiment and try something different. I've had some feedback, and I know the full-length podcast can be a bit too much for some. For the next few episodes, I will release segments of the episode on YouTube. Just search Charting Life Podcast like you would anywhere else you get your podcast. These will upload before the full episode is released, wherever you would normally get your podcast. So YouTube's going to have shorter segments, and the full podcast be on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you like to get your podcast. I would love to know if this is something you like. You can always reach me at chartinglifepodcast@gmail.com. And I want to sincerely thank you for listening to the show and coming back for more. This show is something that has been on my heart and on my mind for some time, and I am thrilled to make this a reality. I hope this show encourages you, makes you laugh, and inspires you to chart your own island. Now back to the show. So, and speaking of journeys, I know you're doing this grain-free homesteading. It's been for over a year now, hasn't it been?
We're at 2 years.
2 years.
That we've been on social media and YouTube.
Yeah. And I think I saw one that was pretty interesting. There was a post you guys did. It was a picture of the butter. I think it was ants flocking to like 3 different types of butter. And one of them, I think, was like a vegan butter. And why don't you tell us what happened? Because I think you got some people not happy with you, and then you kind of trolled a little bit.
Yeah. It was kind of, you never know what's going to happen when you post something on social media. You'll have a post and you'll be like, man, this one's going to take off. Everyone's going to love this post, and it's funny, and it's a great, dad joke. And then, like, it won't do anything. And then you'll just find a random one, and you'll be like, I think, this is something that the people that I'm targeting, homesteading and farming, and, one of the major things that reasons why most people do it is because there's, the quality of food and what's real food and what's fake food. Mm-hmm. And it was just a simple picture of a bar, like a slice of margarine and a slice of like fat-free margarine, and then a slice of butter. And someone had just set it on the ground, and there was 1 million ants on the regular butter, the natural, just the milk butter, the cow butter, whatever you want to call it. And then there was nothing. And the ants that had even got close to the margarine and the light margarine were dead. They were like, stuck in it.
Oh,
and
I missed that part of the picture. Wow.
Yeah, they were dead. And it was just kind of a picture. It wasn't a whole lot to it. It was just a picture, I didn't take the picture. I just thought it was really interesting because, I'm a big fan of what I call real food or natural food, and I'm not a big fan of stuff that runs through a factory and is made with chemicals and everything. So that was kind of my point of even posting it. I do have a lot of people who follow my page because they are, super environmentalist or extreme like PETA kind of people who animal rights, and they
gotcha, yeah,
and they would look at that as I'm enslaving a cow for milk to make butter versus an alternative of margarine,
right?
And those two groups of people, they get really defensive. It's like if they don't want to eat butter, that's fine. Don't eat margarine. I don't care. But then they seek you out. They find you and they don't
Yeah.
they don't like me a whole lot.
And obviously, I would do the obligatory. It's not every vegan or
Right,
whatever,
right.
But they do they do kind of embrace it with a religious fervor.
Exactly.
And I'll let you finish here in a second. But there was a point where my wife and I tried doing the vegan diet. It started off as we wanted a diet. She had a friend who was vegan, and it was right around the time that my wife was kind of in an emotional, uneasy area, and so her friend really kind of twisted the screws and like, okay, we'll do vegan. And we did it for a while. It was about a year or two, and lost weight. Things were going good, and it was actually at a time where you couldn't hardly find any good vegan alternatives. You have like chicken, but it says it's like CHICK''N.
Yeah.
It's not actually chicken, and that always bugged me. Like, don't call it chicken if it's not. But anyways, the one part that I realized, we were starting to get to the point where it was almost that religious aspect was seeping into our lives. We didn't want that at all. We just wanted the diet, and obviously you don't want to be like, be uncaring, towards, you don't want to like, hey, we're gonna, be horrible. But at that point, it got to that point where like, nope, we're done. I'm gonna go eat a cheeseburger now, and we're gonna end it. But anyways, you made this post, right? And it got, the vegans were a little upset.
Yeah, they were upset, and you're right about that. Like the homesteading, what I'm involved in, can become the same way. Mm-hmm. We can be like, you're eating fake food and randomly just attack people. I've caught myself, and religions is the same, can be like that. You can get so immersed in something that you immediately get disgusted by someone who's not agreeing with you or not following what you think is right. I'd catch myself sometimes falling into that trap. I mean, it just happens naturally. And there's been a few times where I'm like, okay, I'm just done. Like I got to quit, or I'm going to turn this into something I don't want it to be. And I guess this is part of being human, is just, defending your position. And sometimes you accidentally attack someone that doesn't agree with you, and you can do it real sleight of hand too if you're not careful. Like
we are. When it comes to justifying our behavior,
right? You
can take somebody who has maybe a lower intelligence, but each person individually, we're really, really good at justifying our own behavior.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard for me. Like, I don't mind if someone's vegan or if someone is trying to save the environment. I think those are. I mean, I don't like killing animals. I don't want animals to suffer. But I do also understand that part of the way I live requires, you have to, some of the vegans who think that they everything they do doesn't harm an animal. It's like just existing alone, you're killing animals. The shoes you wear, the plastic in your phone cover in case, whatever it is, there's animal parts been used in your clothing. It's everywhere. It's part of the way our economy works, is they use every resource we have, and a lot of those resources are byproducts of animals, whether we like it or not. It's just going to happen. So it's hard to argue with.
Right. But you mentioned, as far as our economy works, kind of, because I want to kind of get to the fun punchline of this story here. When it comes to social media and stuff, you get, especially if you are an official page, you can be able to get income, and you really don't make, you can't make a living off of it unless you're just doing amazing. Like, it takes a lot of work and a lot of followers to make substantial money.
Right.
But if you're good at it, what you guys have done, you've built up a nice little following here.
Yeah.
And I think I'm impressed with what you guys have done in the time frame. And it, every once in a while you'll do a post that will it'll get you a little bit. So why don't you finish, tell us what happened with the rest of that post.
Yeah, that post ended up, the sad thing about social media is you can have something really good and positive that should explode and go everywhere, and it just won't. But if you have something that causes division and argument where people want to take sides, I didn't really post anything much, maybe a few people because they wanted to, attack me. But most of the people that were on that post that started fighting, it created a two camp. It created a division between the butter people and the margarine people. I thought was hilarious in some ways, because it's like I could have put a stick on there and people were fighting, and it went up to like 33,000 reactions.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know it was that
yeah,
still, that's incredible.
It was 33,000 reactions. And right now during the time of that, Facebook had contacted me and they were like, we have a bonus time opened up to where if your post gets so many you'll get paid a little bit of money. And I think like the most I had any kind of money off of a meme or a picture was like $8-9, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when that one hit, it hit really hard, and the people were going back and forth. There was arguing going on about, you eat fake food and you kill animals and you're destroying the planet and all your future children. And it was all the regular arguments. But when it hit 33, it kind of shows you how each of your posts are performing. And it went up to like $130 off of one post, which was amazing. And that kind of showed me like, this is why people post so much stuff, like negative stuff, because it causes a division and it causes people to react and fight. And when you have a reaction and people get emotional, then they make more money off of all the reactions and all the interactions that people are making with your post.
Yeah.
So it caught me off guard because I would have never thought that my biggest meme post that made me the most money was butter.
That's your bread and butter, I guess.
Yeah, it's my bread and butter. It was pretty. I mean, and you gotta kind of look at it like, to me, it was funny, but there was a lot of people that got really emotional about it. Like I don't know why. I mean, it's butter, but
right.
But there were people who were gonna die on that hill. And luckily, with Facebook, the longer it's there, it slowly just kind of phases and fizzes out. But there was probably a good solid week where I was trying to keep that post under where people weren't fighting each other.
Yeah, I imagine that $100-something you earned. You put a lot of work into keeping the comments section from people just really trying to go too nasty at each other.
Right.
It's one thing to disagree heartily, but when people start getting nasty at one another, that's where things start getting bad. So would you imagine, like, what is probably in running the social media channel? We'll get to the actual meat of the homesteading in a little bit, but what is something that maybe you didn't realize going into it that maybe was one of the unplanned challenges, that sort of thing? Like what kind of goes into running a social media page? Because then you have YouTube, Facebook. I don't know if you have anything beyond that, but what kind of goes into that you don't, if you're not running a page, that you might might not realize.
So when we started doing it, it was really easy to video it. It was really easy. We like teaching people stuff. We like helping people, and we would show people, hey, this is how you plant this, and this is when, and this is when you harvest it. This is how it should turn out. Whatever. That was all easy. Stephanie is she's the brains behind a lot of our stuff, and she does the editing and finding editing software and finding the stuff you want to use, and you want it to be easy, but you want it to be able to do a lot of things. And we still, we're 2 years into this, and we just now tried a new editing software because she was spending like 3 hours or more on just like little glitches and stuff. We got to the point where we just didn't care a lot too. We would just, you can watch our video and there's some stuff in there and you're like, yeah, they should have edited that out. And it's like, you know what? We're just putting a video out to help people, and it may not be the best quality right now, but it's a video that can help people, and it's not perfect. We're not perfect people. We're not, we've dealt with perfectionism, and that's one of those things that we've really tried to let go. So people will also pick on you like really bad. They'll attack you. They'll attack your family. They'll attack your kids. People talk about the way we look, the way we talk. And one of the videos I kind of made a joke, and it ended up being one of our biggest YouTube videos. We bought a cow from a farmer, and we were just trying to help people on the process of, when you buy a whole cow, this is the process you go through. And that's what I kept saying, whole. I would say whole beef. Mm-hmm. And when I would say whole, I would just kind of set it a little bit, because my kids make fun of me because of my accent a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And they think it's hilarious. So it was kind of a joke for them because I was like whole beef, and I probably said it. I was saying it on purpose, and then I caught myself saying it just naturally. And I bet there was 200 comments under that about me saying the word whole beef. Like, what is that? They didn't know what it meant. They didn't know what the word whole was. They were just like, are you talking about a cow? You know, I mean, they were just totally making fun of me. And there's been videos we've done where people make fun of my kids, and that kind of aggravates me.
Yeah,
and when people start attacking you, or they start attacking your wife because they think, it doesn't bother me when people make fun of me. In some ways, I get a lot of laughter out of it. Some people are pretty funny and creative themselves. So if you can make fun of me and make me laugh, then it's a compliment.
Yeah, that's something that I think even today is kind of missed, is the idea of being able to laugh at yourself. And, if someone's going to comment you or make a joke about you, my thought, generally speaking, if it's for me, it's different if it's your wife or kids, obviously, like you mentioned. But if it's for me, it's like, at least make it original. Try to make me laugh with it,
Right.
But I mean, if you're just being hateful, but there is something special about being able to take what somebody's intending for, wrong or evil, or, something to hurt you, and being able to turn that for some humor. And I'm curious, a lot of people have different ideas when they are doing something online, especially when they have a family, and kids and stuff. So did you talk with your wife about, are we going to have our kids in the background of the video? We're going to, like, what did that conversation, look like? Or did, because I know, like, your son, Sam, he photobombs all the time. And even here, like, at church and stuff, he has his way of just getting into everything. Yeah. But I was just kind of curious, like, has that, have you guys, like, thought about that? Has it brought a little concern, stress, or how do they feel about it?
There was no keeping Sam out of the camera. It wasn't going to happen. We talked about it. We never thought that our channel would do much of anything. It was more for us and our kids and our friends and family. And somehow it's gotten, I mean, it's not a huge channel, but it's gotten bigger than we ever thought it would.
Right.
And there's videos that we made when we thought there wasn't going to be much traffic on it that now have gotten more traffic. And it has been a concern about, our privacy and our kids' privacy. But I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like we kind of show who we are. We don't hide too much. We are who we are. We're not gonna candy coat it and make it look like we're the perfect family, because we're not. And our kids running around in the background doing cartwheels and making noises and farting while we're videoing. That stuff happens all the time. And Stephanie, she tries to edit some of it out, but I'm just like, there's no point, and we're family, and this is real family stuff. Everybody who's watching these videos can totally relate to this and will probably laugh about it.
Yes, I agree. I've seen some of your videos too. Yeah, there's definitely some bits where you relate to that, to just the real life aspect of it.
Yeah, we are cautious though about certain. We don't want people to know where our kids go to school. We don't want it to. There's certain, like, I'm not a big fan of people knowing where my house is, because you never know who's watching your videos, and you have to have some guard. You would have no wisdom if you weren't protecting your family and just totally putting your kids out there.
Right.
Our videos are not normally about our kids in any way, but I mean, sometimes our kids are helping us build stuff, or they're working in the background, or they're just playing or whatever. But our videos are not focused on our kids. They're just part of our family, and I don't want to put our kids out there like they're the star of the show, and that I don't want people really. I mean, I think it's great if somebody sees my kids and they're like, "Hey, your kids are awesome," and they're doing, they make me laugh in the background. That doesn't bother me. But I don't want people sending my kids fan mail.
Right.
I don't want their kids. Let them be kids. And that's just, we're cautious, and there's some things that we do edit out, because they'll have a shirt on with their school name on it.
Right. You got to be cautious on that. And that's good that you're taking precautions.
Yeah, my oldest son, he does not want to be in any of the videos. He, it's more about being cool for him, and he doesn't want his friends to see him in the back. And there's been a few of them where he's still in the background, like he couldn't get out of it no matter what. And he just doesn't like all the attention, or he doesn't want people to know that, you know, we have a YouTube channel, because then his friends would all find it and embarrass him.
So that is funny with their different personalities. So you know, you can't keep Sam out of the camera, and then you know, Isaac doesn't want to be in there at all if he can help it. What's made you kind of inspired you to start the channel, and then what are you hoping to achieve, especially now that you have more following than just friends and family? What started you down that path?
So we really what got us started in gardening and stuff. It started, you know, 20 some years ago.